fact that we have these trails and we have this preserved land isn't because of what we've done today, it's because of what others came before us. And no family has ever done more than the Osborn family. For generations, they have preserved the land, protected the land, encouraged others to do so. And now we see literally hundreds of thousands of people have discovered the Highlands. It wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for the Osborn family, and now Fred and Annie and their son Hank carrying on the tradition.
If I had to characterize what Fred and Annie bring to the table, I'd say it's that they're intensely and wonderfully community-minded, right? They didn't come into this community and sort of start dictating or sort of saying, I'm an Osborn, you have to listen to me. That wasn't their approach. Their approach is to volunteer with the institutions, join the church, get back in the choir, be a volunteer at some of these organizations, get yourself into the organization. And that is that's ability to lean in and get involved and not sort of be aloof. That is their greatest power.
It was when I got to the Hudson Valley that I realized the depth of their impact on this community and how much they mean to so many of the residents. They're both just such respected ambassadors for the natural world, are involved in a number of cultural and environmental organizations, and I think really value people as much as they value the natural world. So they're just so kind to the folks who do the work in the trenches every day and really make a point of sharing their love and respect to those folks. And so I just really admire that. And because of that, they're just central to this community and central to building a culture of respect and love for the natural world.
So it was months after I first came to Garrison, I saw an ad in the paper for asking for volunteers to work on a trail. And so I got my rake and my lopers and I went up the mountain. And there were Fred and Annie with their rake and lopers, and that's where we met. And by the end of that meeting, I knew we would be great friends, and I knew they would teach me almost everything I needed to know about conservation in the Hudson Highlands. Literally every time I look out my window, my view would not be the same, but for the Osborn family. That is incontestable.
You know that if there's an Osborn in the area, that this landscape's got a strong steward and we're going to be okay. The well-being of the world is coming together when there's an Osborn around, and it's just fantastic to have Hank here, and we do need to make sure that Hank's children are also groomed to assume this role. It's been this generational role in this community.
The Trail Conference is more important than ever because we just have seen some horrific weather where trails are washed out, trees come down, and people wouldn't be able to appreciate the beauty of the Hudson Highlands, but for the Trail Conference continual effort to make sure those trails are open, accessible, and usable. And now that we've been discovered by so many, having the Trails Conference make sure that people have some sense of where they should go, having monitors, having guides, is absolutely essential.
Every time those trail stewards were present, we never had a call on the emergency services to bring people off the mountain. It worked beautifully. And it's just another example of how the trail conferences work creatively to solve problems.
There are so many things that Libby and I have done with Fred and Ann, usually conservation efforts or preservation efforts, and just always Fred is happy to take the lead when others won't. When others kind of hide in the background and hope they don't get chosen, Fred raises his hand. And he wouldn't do it except that Ann was there helping him put up his hand.
Thank you for being in this community, what you've done for the preservation of the Hudson Valley, the Hudson River, and institutions and organizations and community around it.
There are many, many, many things that I love and admire about the Hudson Highlands, but Fred and Annie are very near the top of that list.